You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lane. Gardening, it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lane, here every week, talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. And we are into the thick of growing right now. My tomatoes are growing like crazy. I mean, they're already up to the top of the cage. Had to reinforce the cage because they're going to be big. So these are indeterminate tomatoes, early girls, I think a black crim and something, a cherry. And so I've got three of them. My peppers are up easily knee high, so they're starting to form peppers. So it's time. If your tomatoes, they aren't growing, if you don't have blossoms, if you've not set some fruit, I've got some golf ball size fruit on my tomatoes already. If you don't have that, you should. Here's an insider tip for you. So they make a product here at the garden center. It's called Blossom Set. It's there to get plants to start to set fruit, not just tomato. Ours, I think it says tomato and pepper set, but really it works on squash, on eggplants, on your vegetable gardens. And what it does, you spritz the foliage once a week. That's what I do. I'll pick a Sunday or something. I'll sip my coffee. I'll spritz my plants, make them happy, and then they start to set blossoms. They'll set the fruit. So it's not a pollinator. What it does, it slows the plants down. You juiced your soil so fast, so rich. The plants are growing like crazy. They put all of their energy into growing foliage, and they literally will forget to set blossoms and fruit. And so the blossom set slows them down, lets them take a breath. They go, oh yeah, that's right. I should be setting fruit by now. I'm already up to the top of the cage. Let's do that. And so they start to set fruit pretty quick, especially when it's a little bit cooler at night. It's been chilly. It's like cooler than normal. It helps the plants will literally start slowing down. They start going, okay, I'm chilly. I'm just going to hibernate here for a moment. When sunrise hits, I'll start growing again. It helps them to start forcing them to set the flowers, basically. Set flowers. Bees will do your work, and then they'll start setting fruit, and then all of a sudden you've got that rotation. Once they get into that habit of just forming fruits, they just seem to get in this rhythm. But you need to coax them a little bit, and part of it's an altitude thing. If you've never played with Blossom Set, you'll find that it's really, really helpful. I usually, when I buy my vegetable gardens, I'm just getting a bottle and I just go to town, and once a week I hit my plants until they start setting fruit. And then usually I can take the pressure off. What's happened now in my own gardens is now I'm starting to set flowers and fruit. So I've got golf ball sized tomatoes. I'll be picking stuff in a couple of weeks. I'll be having by the end of the month, I'll be having my first fruit come off. Peppers, I'll have that before then. What I'll do is when I start to set some fruit and they're kind of smaller, I'm now shifting from blossom set. I'm now moving over towards yield booster. Yield booster, it's a liquid. It's liquid calcium. We're also famous for not just not setting fruit early. We're also famous for blossom end rot. That is, the fruit starts to form, but then it gets a rotten spot on the very tip where the flower was, blossom end rot. Or the squash will start to grow and then it just turns yellow and withers and drops off. Those are all indications of calcium deficiencies. And part of it's because of our water is so alkaline. That's what's causing that. And so if you can spritz your plants with yield booster at this point, so I'm shifting over to yield booster when they start having fruit. It's just calcium. Calcium, they absorb it through their foliage, and they start to absorb it into the fruits and the foliage, and it just gets rid of that blossom end rot. It makes for bigger fruits, sweeter fruits. A flavor comes out because of calcium. That's why in our fruit and vegetable food, it's 7. So it's 644 is the formula, but it's 7. 6, 4, 4, 7. It's 7% calcium We know that you're going to struggle with calcium and flavors and fragrance and size of fruits. And so we just juice our homemade organic fertilizer with 7% calcium. We're just going to help you. We know the environment you're growing in. We're all in this together. We're up in the mountains, and you're going to need a special kind of food. That's what it does. So I've done that. And so just for now, if you don't have fruit, the advice I can give you just in this hour we're going to spend together, put blossom set on your plants till they start setting fruit. And once they do, switch it over to Yield Booster. You should have a bottle of both in the garden shed, just ready to go. And once a week, just make your plants happy with those two things. It will be a game changer. The other one that I really recommend. So I was helping a customer yesterday here at the garden center, work in the lower greenhouse. And she said, Ken, I really, really want that. So my neighbors have this dark black mulch. I love the contrast. Where do I get that? Do you have it? I'm going, we don't sell. That's a dye. It's dyed wood chips. And they dyed it they used actual stain to stain it black or colors. You don't want that in your garden. Trust me. You don't want that. What that is you can buy it at a box store. Go to any box store, you can find that. They'll have it in red, yellow, black, and green. They'll have different colors. What that really is, they're taking old pallets, they chop them up, pull the nails out, dye it, put it in a bag. That's what you're buying. So you're getting wood. It's not a good wood product. It is affordable. That's great, but you're putting dyes into your soil. I would not put that around my vegetable gardens. Anything you're going to eat, I would not put that around there because who knows what kind of chemicals are in the dye. And then pallets they've hauled stuff around for 3 years. Who knows what the wood's absorbed as they deliver stuff around. You just have no control over that. Don't eat anything that you've put this dyed mulch around. I would say the same thing about the rubber products. There's the same thing there's rubber. They take old tires, chop them up, dye them, and then you can put that around your gardens. Don't put that around I would say don't put it in your yard, but don't put it around things you eat at the very least. Don't do that to yourself or your pets or your dog or whatever. Don't do it to your pollinators. Don't put it around your flowers where butterflies and bees are going to take up whatever's in that through the flowers. What you really want to use is shredded cedar. Cedar it's an organic, natural product. Cedar has a repelling action for bugs. And so it naturally tends to keep the aphids, caterpillars, things out of the earwigs, you can just name them, out of the gardens because they don't like that cedar oil in there. It smells good. But the main thing you're doing right now, it's going to get hot. We're days away from summer. And so the soil can get sunburned. Literally like your skin gets sunburned, your soil can do the same thing. Only instead of the sun baking the soil red, like you would see on your skin, it starts to crack and parch. And as that soil breaks apart or becomes parched or sunburned, it fractures all those new root hairs that were forming. So you're going backwards in time because the sun literally roasted the soil. So right now I'm putting about a 2 to 3 inch layer of cedar bark. Use that cedar bark around my tomatoes, my peppers, my flowers, just things where the soil is exposed. I'm putting a top dressing mainly to keep the sun off. Yes, it keeps the weeds down. There's some other benefits. It holds moisture in, but mainly the reason I'm doing that is to keep the sun from burning the soil and breaking those new root hairs that have been forming for the last 6-8 weeks. And then I'm going backwards in time. It keeps your plants healthier, especially things. Let's say you're growing dinner plate dahlias. It'll be important. You want to keep that moisture. You don't want those roots. You want that plant to focus on those huge flowers, on a better tomato crop, on more peppers or eggplants or cucumbers or whatever it is. Top dress right now before the heat comes back at us, and it will increase production and increase flower size, quantity of flowers for your plants. Don't let your garden's soil be sunburned. Shredded cedar bark makes a difference. We got a lot in store for you, but we got Lisa Watters Lain coming in the studio right after this. Watters garden companion plants for June are sunburst locust, moonshine yarrow, silverberry, and Hall's honeysuckle.
Ideal at growing up fences, walls, or as a ground cover.
Wind, drought, deer, javelina are no problem.
Hall's honeysuckle is an outstanding mountain vine with fragrant yellow flowers that loves blooming in the summer heat.
An excellent solution for a fast-growing screen, even in the poorest of soil.
You'll only find the hardiest vines at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
And back in the studio, each week, Lisa comes with garden questions. Just what are your neighbors talking about? We try to wrap that up and present it, and so we can see, so the rest of the neighbors in that neighborhood can hear what's going on. And when grasshoppers hit, it's like they hit everywhere. When there's a blight, when something's in bloom, when butterflies, when birds are migrating, they're just not over your yard, they're everywhere. And so there's some value in sharing that. Welcome to the studio, Lisa.
Thank you.
Your gardens are beautiful.
Yes, they are.
They're looking really good. Your garden center is even more beautiful.
It is really pretty. So many of those summer blooming shrubs, the butterfly, the rose of Sharon. We got some new roses in from Monrovia that are perfume roses. Oh my gosh, you got to come in just to smell them.
Even if you're not into roses.
Yeah.
You have, everyone is into roses. Not everyone wants to grow roses, but everyone loves the fragrance of roses, lilacs, the intensity of crepe myrtles, the beauty, that solar yellow potentilla, the way the butterflies and hummingbirds go after Salvia gregii. It's a botanical garden out there.
It truly
looks
is.
beautiful.
I love to walk through because you walk in through and you're like, oh, what's that smell? What is that smell? And you start trying to hunt it down, or what's that color out there that's so bright? So definitely a fun place to grab your iced tea or your coffee and just walk through.
Don't have to buy a thing. Just come in, bring your dog, and just enjoy the therapeutic effects of Watters Garden Center, a garden center, plants. So this is about garden questions, though. Yeah, we should go get into details.
We should. So Dan has a question about his alligator junipers, and this is actually a question we've gotten in quite a bit. So I think it's happening overall through the Prescott area or Quad City area. He has some large native old alligator junipers that seem to be losing their inside foliage, kind of turning brown, dropping. He definitely doesn't want to lose the trees. So he wants to know, should he be concerned? What should he do? What do you think?
So Dan, I'm not concerned. So I mean, this is the season where you get some leaf litter off of junipers. If it's a lot, okay, we'll look at that. You might want to take a picture to bring it into the garden center just to make sure, because it's on your radar. It's concerning. So your garden DNA is going, something's off. So, but I'm not concerned in that you didn't say the top was dead. I got dead branches. I've got sap oozing from the trunk. Those are all really bad. You don't want that. So there's two kinds of junipers in this central highlands, this elevation. They kind of roam through Payson, that area, come up through the Verde, through Prescott Valley, and then over towards Ashford, up towards Seligman. Lots and lots of shaggy bark juniper and alligator juniper. So they're both the same. They're related. Alligator junipers, the bark looks like alligator skin. So it has this ragged, very texture, very artistic type of bark. Big blue foliage. And then shaggy bark has this peeling kind of shaggy bark. The foliage looks exactly the same. The bark looks a little different. Both of them are shedding some foliage. I think there's a couple things that may be going on. One, they've been used to 20 years of drought, and all of a sudden we are out of drought, and they have been buried in water since October through the middle of May. So really they've had nonstop moisture. And so you've got some root damage. That's what I think is going on. And so the plant is trying to compensate and balance out its foliage. What to do? I would say fertilize. I know it seems weird to fertilize native plants, but a wild plant that you are caring for reacts very quickly, can recover very quickly. So I would fertilize it with the 744 all-purpose plant food. Dan, listen to me. It's important. I would also give it at the same time 2 products, the all-purpose food and humic, Humic, humic. It's humic acid. What humic acid does, it helps, well, it feeds the roots. So the roots want to root out deeper. It attracts more worms. It increases the mycorrhizal colonies underneath that tree. So the plant is healthier, better, stronger. So those are 2 things, just kind of no-brainers. I think what also could be going on is as conifers grow, that is evergreens that have needles, those are conifers, and they grow typically one time in the spring. So they're putting on a ring of new wood right now. They're elongating new tips, new growth right now. As they do that, as that new growth elongates on the outside edges of the foliage, it shades the inside of the tree. And so those needles that are more shaded drop. Also, as the wood elongates, the bark gets thicker, it pushes some needles off. And so to hear that needles are dropping on the inside of the tree does not concern me one bit. I think it's okay. But again, I don't want you to lose it. So bring a photo in. Let's take a close look to make sure. But just over an email or a comment, that's my first reaction. Pamper it a little bit. It'll make a big difference. And then I think if you fertilize it, it would look like a brand new plant within 3-4 weeks. It'll look fantastic. So not to worry, Dan.
So a lot of people thinking, oh, it's dry, it needs water.
Oh,
have been
don't do that.
Giving extra water.
Don't do that.
I just want to make sure people understand. Don't give it extra water right now. They've had sufficient moisture.
You might as well give your puppy dog arsenic. That's about the same effect. Don't do that. So don't. They're native. Well, you can kill natives. So you kind of want to watch that one. So
you do. Be careful.
Yeah, be careful. If you're going to water, you can do that just once a month. That's all a native plant needs. They don't want to be in your drip systems. One time a month is enough. And the ground has still got some moisture in it. I don't think they're going to need that. I think it's root damage. And then I think it's healthy. It's growing new foliage. It's shedding some of that old inside growth.
Okay. Our next question is from Janie in Chino. She has a hillside on the back of her house that is very hot, full sun all day.
Wind. It's Chino Valley.
So a neighbor recommended that she use Mexican evening primrose.
Yeah.
She wanted to know your thoughts on that. And then if you had any other suggestions.
Oh, Janie, this is great. I love it when women kind of call in and go, I want your opinion. I love that. So primrose is going to do exceptionally well in Chino Valley. Actually, anywhere in the central highlands area, it's going to shine. So primrose is it's a low growing, about ankle high plant, ground cover, spreads out, and it has these beautiful pink flowers, kind of summer through autumn, and it's just covered with pink flowers nonstop. It can be rather aggressive, and so it tends to, you don't plant this where you in the middle of a garden, it will choke out everything. You put it towards the outer edge where the water barely hits it. Treat it with disrespect, and you can maybe keep it under control. So it's perfect for a hillside in Chino Valley. I think it'd be great, and it would spread and it would reseed. Are there other choices? Many, 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 many choices. We got 100 of them here. Look at sedums. Yeah. Sedums and rock gardens kind of go together. These are low growing. They're kind of like cactus without the needles, the thorns. And so they just spread and creep in between the rocks. They hold the hillside down. They spread very easily. They love our sun. They're perennial. At least the ones we have are perennial. So they're going to come back year after year. What else is out there? Give me some help, will you?
Anything. Junipers, cotoneas.
Oh, sure. Oh,
vines,
yeah. Grasses. Absolutely.
It kind of depends on what you want that hillside to look like, and we can help you figure that out.
So, Jeannie, you need to come into the garden center, and we'll give you the grand tour. So that's the secret. I would suggest, since Hillside and Chino Valley, just knowing what I know out there, those are bigger properties typically. And so you'll be tempted to get a whole shopping cart full of things and just plant them in the hillside. You'd be better. A better design tip is get like odd numbers. So 3, 5, 7, group them together, get another color, 3, 5, 7, group them together, and go with pockets of color. It will look more natural that way on that hillside.
Mhm.
We are out of time, Lisa, just
Okay.
like that. So Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners. Be right back.
Watters Garden companion plants for June are golden locust, silverberry, Hall's honeysuckle, and portulaca.
Portulaca tolerates blazing sun, where the neon flowers attract butterflies.
Available in red, orange, violet, white, and pink.
Great for containers, rock gardens, between sunny stepping stones, or any hot, dry garden space where nothing else grows.
The brighter, the better.
You'll find the toughest bloomers at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. One of the joys I have owning a retail garden center. So retail, I love people. So first of all, if you're in retail, you better like people. And so I love people. I love hearing the stories and where they came from and their families and their gardens. It's just fun. I like when they bring their dogs and we can hear how old they are and what breed. I love how customers just interact with each other. They're helping each other out there. It's a gardener thing. It's fun. The stressful part, everyone says, oh, small business, it's about the people, the employees. I love the employees. That's a fun part for me. It's creating teams and camaraderie and motivating. That's fun. It's the attorneys and the insurance and the taxes and getting the schedules right. And I like the marketing piece. It's good because it's creative. It's how do you inspire folks? How do you have your social media feed just be uplifting in a world that's nothing but negative, negative, negative? Well, flowers are perfect. Everyone, that'll de-stress you. You don't have to go outside. You can stay indoors and look at your Watters Instagram feed. It'll be uplifting. It's fun. So I was helping a customer. His girlfriend had brought him in. So said, here's my boyfriend. I won't say who the names. Just love you guys. Glad you were here. He's new to gardening. He's new to gardening. I want to make sure he falls in love with gardening. And I went, okay, I see where this is going. I can help this guy. We are going to make him the most fabulous gardener she's ever seen. And so he's got this beautiful lantana, gorgeous container pot. I said, here's an insider tip. So I love lantana too. And here's what I do. About a week before you have a party, you're going to have guests over, you're going to have something on your back patio, your decks, deadhead or pinch off the spent flowers, the old flowers, just take those off. And about a week before the event, use this fertilizer. I gave him some flower power. It's a water soluble. You take a scoop of this for every gallon of water. Just water your plants in with this about a week before your party. And these plants, your flowers, will be so over the top, they're going to go, whoa, I can't believe you're that kind of gardener. You can see the lights come on going, yeah, that's what I want to do. That's it. Thank you for that insider tip. And really, gardening is sort of that easy. It's shareable. It's meant to be helpful. We're meant to in this all together. We're growing things that are living, breathing things. We're trying to do what's best for them. And there are some techniques that get them motivated to really grow and bloom. That was an easy one. If you've got Calibrachoa right now, you bought a hanging basket, let's say a Mother's Day weekend. It's been a month and the flowers are just starting to drop. They aren't blooming like they were. The flower power, this water soluble food, is 48% phosphorus, that middle number, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash. That middle number is what forms fruits and flowers. If you want more fruits, more tomatoes, more peppers, more dahlias, more petunias, Calibrachoa, if they aren't blooming like they were, just give them this flower power every other week and they will be over the top. Like I took some basket of Calibrachoa, lantanas, different things, and I planted those and I started doing that flower power. And now I can't see the foliage on some of these things. It's completely flowers. That's what your flower gardens should look like. They should be over the top right now. The weather's been perfect for growing flowers. Your vegetables should be growing like crazy right now. Boom, they should be growing up just reaching for the skies, going, this is great. I love growing. I'm going to produce so much for you. If they're not doing that, give them some fertilizer, flower power. I've got my 2 watering cans. I just top off. Each one's 2 gallons. I just mix up 4 gallons at a time. And I go and I make all my plants happy. It's a game changer. So if your plants aren't growing, don't settle for that. Force them to take off. If your salvia, which should be in bloom right now, your autumn sage should be in bloom now. Hummingbirds should be all over those things. If they aren't, give them some flower power. They will be in flower within literally days. They just need some more available phosphorus. That middle number, that's what creates the flower buds. And so if they don't have enough of that, they'll just be green blobs and they won't produce. They'll just be big, tall foliage tomatoes without setting fruit. They'll be, you can garden on them to force them to do what you want. These are wild plants that we're taming to be what we want them to be. And sometimes they just need a little nurturing, a little water, a little food, kind of gets them to do what you want them to do. And so that's flower power is a game changer, especially for all those hanging baskets. We sold hundreds of them for Mother's Day weekend. You should be fertilizing those at least every other week, if not every week, until they start to really get some tremendous new growth and more flowers and fruits on them. It's good for tomatoes. It's good for any kind of vegetable, any kind of flower, especially the big ones like dahlias, your big petunias. They're going to need the right nutrients to produce that kind of fruit, that kind of flower onto that plant. Got more advice for you. Be right back.
Watters Garden companion plants for June are Moonshine Yarrow, Silverberry, Hall's Honeysuckle, and Sunburst Locust.
Sunburst Locust cheerfully shouts, "Hello, spring," with its glowing yellow leaves.
As summer heats up, it settles down to a naturally cool green, only to turn gold again in the autumn.
This Watters exclusive casts a dappled shade, perfect for reading books or sharing an outdoor meal, and impervious to deer.
You'll find the coolest trees here at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
All right, so we are back with Lisa Watters Lain in the studio. She comes each week, and this segment's just for her to inspire us, to want to just be out there in nature, to capture butterflies and take a closer look at ladybugs and smell the fragrance and just enjoy the fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you.
So how's your garden growing?
Actually, really well.
It is.
Our garden is looking very good. Our veggies and our flowers and our trees and our shrubs.
I've got tomatoes starting to form. We got a little squash we'll probably pick off this week.
Ooh.
So cucumbers are starting to elongate really fast. So things are happening. The flowers of flowers. Dahlias, that's my favorite flower. You get to pick one, you deadhead.
Mm-hmm.
And they just keep pushing more and more blooms.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
I did actually fertilize everything that blooms or fruits with Root and Grow this week. Next week, I'm trying to get more consistent with that while they're young. Root and Grow is a compost tea that helps things to root out, gets deeper green, helps them just to grow. And then I'm trying to I'll switch very quickly to Flower Power, which is a water-soluble food that helps flowers grow bigger, that has fruits grow longer, bigger, more. And so it seems to be making a difference. So I see that, I notice it.
Okay, so you're doing Root and Grow to get them started and healthy and growing, and then you're going to switch to the Flower Power.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
That'll work.
So what do you got for us?
Well, speaking of flowers and power, so I wanted to bring in some perennials, so plants that come back every year. And these perennials are long blooming perennials. So
nice.
Sometimes you get that seasonal, like candy tuft. I mean, it's beautiful in the spring, great early perennial, but it's going to stop and then it's kind of done. Great if you're mixed in beds and stuff because you don't really notice it because other things start blooming. But I wanted to bring in some perennials that are going to give you season from color from beginning to end.
Now through October, November, I'm even seeing some of these through winter almost.
Yeah,
good.
So One of the first ones I wanted to bring in, and I love this plant, and I just don't think it's utilized very much. And it's such a huge family of plants. So dianthus or carnations is sometimes you see them called. It's such a huge family. You want a color, you want a variety, you want a style, they've got it. So it is actually now you're
Just have fun with the camera. Sorry. Keep talking. Keep talking.
They literally bloom all season long. Once they start, they're not going to stop until we get really consistently cold. It's also one that 9 times out of 10, it's going to keep the foliage through the winter time. It's probably not going to bloom, but it keeps the foliage in through there. And very, very fragrant. I love the smell of carnations, dianthus.
Like cinnamon almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very excellent plant for animal resistance. Most of your critters are not going to eat these. And they come in just a variety of colors. So this is a real simple, this one's what? Passion.
Violet passion. Forever violet passion. Or violent.
Mm-hmm.
Forever violet passion.
So
violet.
It's got more of a
color.
simple bloom.
Yeah.
Kind of
Look at that though. It's got, there must be
hundreds of
50, I don't know, 70 flower
a
buds. There's more
Right.
flower buds than foliage. That's
Mhm.
nuts.
So this is another one. This is more orange. I forget the name of this one. Is Premier Orange, but it really is orange, and it's unusual to find that color of orange in a carnation. Just naturally orange, very, very pretty.
Isn't that funny?
And it's got the fuller flower to it. And both of these guys, when those flowers start to fade, if you just pinch them off, you're going to get more and more and more flowers. And it's another one you were talking about, flower power. If you use that every 2 weeks on these guys, they are just not going to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty. So this is carnation, Premier Orange carnation. So like you'd put in a boutonniere or something, only you can grow these outdoors. You can use them for cutting.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Butterflies like them. This is just a hardy, tough plant. And rabbit javelina generally leave them alone. We got a rascally ground squirrel in our gardens.
Oh, we do.
Yep, and
Gotta
he
let the
is
dogs out more.
fat and chubby. He's been eating the garden. I think he
Oh,
came from the neighbor's house.
probably. Another one that I really like, and there again, it's a huge family of plants, is Coreopsis. So Coreopsis, usually most of the times are yellow or browns and yellows, sometimes reds and yellows, to a simple blossom, to a big, they call it a sphere. So it's a big, almost looks like a big tennis ball on the end of your
Trying to help folks tune in.
Thank you. So Coreopsis love the sun.
Oh, yeah.
Great sun plant, continual bloomer. There again, deadhead it. But hey, we all need something to do in our lives. So go out there with your cup of coffee and deadhead your flowers.
It is
You'll get a lot
therapeutic.
more blooms.
Yeah.
But it's another one that's just going to consistently bloom until we get that really super hard frost. And then it'll go, I'm going to go to sleep. I'll see you next spring.
Yeah, it hibernates underground. You just take a lawnmower weed whacker right over top of it, like in March, and it just comes back fresh every single spring, bigger and better. And this one can reseed sometimes, which is quite nice.
Definitely. So for something taller that really attracts the hummingbirds and the butterflies, this is Agastache. This one's blue boa.
It's kind of got a flower, just starting. So it's a summer lover. There's where the flower is. You can see that. So it's just starting to happen. Agastache.
So it has like a fuzzy blue blossom to it, but the hummingbirds just love it. And the butterflies are very attracted to it as well. Another one, give it a nice hot spot.
Smell that.
I know.
Amazing.
You're going to make me start coughing.
Yeah.
Don't do that. But there you go. Loves the heat. Give it a nice hot spot to grow into. It's going to come back every year bigger and better. And then once these guys start blooming, once we get that warmth that they like, they just keep going and going.
I help customers with Agastache because I think we sell too many or plant too many Russian sage. And it gets weedy and they seed everywhere. And just it's a big aggressive shrub. Agastache has a similar height, a little bit smaller, very similar flower, takes the same heat. And it's not aggressive. It's longer lived, less weedy, less trashy. I think Agastache is a better plant in most mountain gardens.
Right. And they're, again, also very animal resistant.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know if I mentioned that. But it also comes in pinks and corals and yellows and oranges. So a wide variety of colors for you to put out there. We're doing good on time. So this is Gaillardia. This one is, which variety is
This
that?
is Arizona Red.
Arizona Red. And it is. It's a beautiful
Looks like an Arizona
red
sunset.
color. I like it, the tones on it, because it has that orangey red and then yellow at the tips. It is like a sunset in Arizona, right?
Like Route 66 right there. That's what it looks like.
And look at the buds on that. I mean, there are
Loaded.
a ton of buds. So it's another good continual bloomer, just consistent.
This one is a great bird attractor. That is, if you let it go to seed as it goes into winter, it'll actually be a food source for birds as they get through winter. It comes back every year. And I find that super tough as far as animals like javelina don't bother this. It's got a fuzzy texture to the foliage that they just don't like.
They do not care for that. So another one of my favorites. So this one is Gara. This one is the other name for it is whirling butterflies.
Yeah,
because the little flowers on it just look like they're little butterflies going through the yard. It's very, I love it when the wind kind of is blowing and the plant starts moving, and it just is a very pretty plant out there. Kind of has a simple lacy look to it, but it just, each stem comes out and it just produces flowers all the way up the stem. And it also comes in a dark pink and a light pink as well, kind of different heights.
This would be a great companion for Russian sage, agastache, primrose. It loves that right out there in the heat. I mean, just like crazy wind, crazy sun. I'm on a ridgeline. I have nothing but rock piles. Gara is going to like that. This is where it grows.
We have one out by our mailbox that I don't even think it's on a drip at this point in its life, but it is huge and it is beautiful. So a great one to put in.
We're out of time, babe. I know you got more, so they'll just have to tune in later for to listen to more of your flowers or come in. Better yet, Watters Lain, the Mountain Gardeners. Be right back after this.
Watters Garden companion plants for June are golden locust, silverberry, Hall's honeysuckle, and moonshine yarrow.
Moonshine yarrow is a fuss-free, heat-loving perennial with large clusters of canary yellow flowers held above a ferny foliage. It's just stunning.
Mountain tough, you can't kill this perennial that only blooms better year after year.
Javelina and rabbit detest the summer blooms.
You'll find moonshine yarrow for a limited time at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in
So if you are new to gardening in the mountains of Arizona, you'll find there are some distinct seasons. It's more than just 4, spring, summer, fall, winter. It's actually spring, summer, fall, winter, plus there's an early spring season where things that love bright sun, but still it's frosty, maybe even some snow. That's early spring. That's March and April. Then we've been into spring. June I defined as its own month. It's perennial month, because this is when all the perennials start to erupt and bloom. So before this, we had some perennials, and they were pretty. They smelled good. They come back every year for years of enjoyment. But some of them were just green blobs. They didn't look that good yet. They weren't quite blooming. June, that all changes. Everything is in bloom. All the things that were in spring are blooming, and now all the summer, the things that just love bright, hot, sunny, windy days, they're not blooming. So before you were buying perennials by the little tag, trying to figure out what size peony is that, to what color. You can't smell them because they aren't open yet. You can't smell a scratch. They don't make scratch and sniff plant tags. Maybe that's not a bad idea. Right now, the peonies, they're blooming. You can actually see the color, touch them, smell them, and all the other summer varieties. The hostas, they were up and looking good, but now they're big and bright and bold and in bloom. They're amazing. Salvias, we had a few of them, and as soon as they started blooming, they would sell. The rest of them were green. Well, now the entire block will have 100 of them show up in 5 different colors, and they're all in bloom. And so the hummingbirds are all over those things. That's why June is its own month. I guess I should keep explaining. So you had early spring season, perennial month, June. You've got summer planting season. That's crepe myrtles and Rosa Sharons. The roses go back into bloom. They're celebrating the monsoon rains. They just love everything about warm and some rains. That's them. Fall color. So fall aspens turn gold, the maples turn red, and then winter evergreens. So really, I define we've got 6 very distinct seasons you see at the garden center, and the product will change. The plants showing up will change. Like I had 6, 7, 10 different varieties of lilac in the spring back in February and March. Now I've got 2, but I've got 7 varieties of crepe myrtles. I've got 6 different types of hibiscus, hardy ones and tropical ones. So we're shifting over to that summer mix. So you'll see the crop rotations. We have to decide, like right now, I'm trying to decide how many do I have for next spring? We're trying to decide our tomato count for next year. How'd it go? Which varieties? We're making those strategic alignments now, and then we'll go get our seed or our plugs or our cuttings and start to grow those out. And once you're out of those, it's done. There's no more. You can't grow. It takes a year. A peony can take up to 5 years to grow, to flush out. All those great big Ito peonies, the ones with the flowers as big as your hand, they get up hip high. They're big. They take up to 5 years before they're old enough to start to bloom. So many perennials need to be of a certain age. Typically, they are at least 2 years old or older. That's why your perennial plants, that's those flowers that come back year after year. So perennial and permanent both start with P. Annuals live for the year, the annual, annum, and then they die in the winter, typically. So annuals and perennials. Perennials are the ones you really want to go with because you plant it once and you're done. It comes back for years. A peony can live up to 50 years. It's one of the longest lived of all the perennial flowers you'll ever find. In fact, if you kept taking cuttings, you could probably get it to grow indefinitely if it's in a happy place. And so it does really well here. You're starting to see the summer and fall grasses. So ornamental grass, not lawn. You're not going to mow it and play soccer with the kids on it. These are big, showy, beautiful flowing grasses, these ornamental grass. We're famous for those up here at this elevation. Well, in the spring, they were cut back and they were starting to look green. And then in the spring season, they started to come, looked green, but weren't blooming. Now, the month of June, they start to actually look full, and they've got those great big plumes at the top, and they will only become more glorious. If you were thinking about putting perennials in the garden, now's the time. An interesting fact. I don't think this is just Watters Garden Center, Prescott, Arizona, or Arizona. I'm talking to friends around the country, and we're finding a phenomena happening. People are shifting from annual flowers and our perennial departments, our perennial, like we have, I don't know how many thousands of square feet of nothing but perennials, shade lovers, javelina proof, deer proof, sun lovers. We'll take the wind, loves butterflies. We break them down, we curate them so that they're easier to shop, less mysterious. And so we're finding across the country, more gardeners are shifting their flower purchases over to perennials. So annual departments are flat or down. So that's the begonias and geraniums and cosmos and all these things that bloom like crazy for a year and then they die in the winter. They might reseed, they might come back, but they won't come back from the root. Perennials can hibernate underground through the winter, but they come back fresh from the ground, big, beautiful. You take a Mashuto hibiscus. This is that hibiscus with the flower that's bigger than your hand, but it's perennial. It hibernates underground. It gets up 4x4, at least 3x3, about hip high by hip wide. It's magnificent, huge, gigantic flowers, bright pink, bright reds, bright whites. and then it hibernates underground. Its cousin, the Rose of Sharon, is also a hibiscus. This is a big plant. It's a shrub. It's a perennial, but it doesn't die back to the ground. It gets gigantic. So it'll easily get up head high. If you just let it go without ever pruning it, it can go up to 8 to 10 feet. Isn't that beautiful? Just hundreds and hundreds of hibiscus flowers. They're a bit smaller. They're kind of like baseball size instead of as big as your hand. But they make up for it in just sheer quantity. I've literally had at one of my gardens, the Rose of Sharon loaded up with so many flowers. I mean, I gave it a lot of fertilizer, gave it a lot of phosphorus. I nursed it along, I babied it, and she wanted to bloom. She had so many flowers. I had to stake her. She fell over. So I just went, I've got too many flowers. I can't take anymore. Boom, fell over the wind. Staked it back up, and it just bloomed its head off through fall. That's the hardiest of all the hibiscus. Rose of Sharon. There's lots of colors, double flowers, single flowers. There's some with red center, some with blue center, some with white. There's a lot of varieties. Then you've got your Machutos, or hardy hibiscus, that hibernate underground. And then you've got your tropical hibiscus. These are the ones you folks in San Diego, Hawaii, Phoenix, and they love the sun. They bloom from here through the end of the year. They just keep blooming and blooming. They're always setting great big flowers, rich, velvety texture to them, glossy, rich green leaves. There's nothing there's literally no other plant like a tropical hibiscus. But you need to plant it in a container. It needs to be on the deck. It needs to be on the patio, the entrance, someplace on either side of the garage. It needs to be outside in a container, because come about Halloween, you're going to bring that thing indoors and treat it like a houseplant. So you want to keep it where it's maintained. It's got a haircut. Keep it where it can come indoors. And the insider tip with tropical hibiscus, don't let them shut down inside the house. Put them in a bright room, your brightest room in the house, and cut it back. Give it a haircut before you bring it in. Fertilize it. The internet says stop watering, stop fertilizing, let it lose its leaves and shut down. Don't do that. When you take it back outdoors next spring, it just takes too long for them to power back up. Keep them blooming in the house. That's the insider tip with tropical hibiscus. And they will put them back out in the spring of next year, and they will just ignite with new growth. I mean, they'll have more flowers than you've ever dreamed of. They love growing outdoors at this elevation, but they have to winter over inside the house. Anyway, we've got more in store for you, but be right back. Got to take a break after this.
Watters Garden companion plants for June are moonshine yarrow, silverberry, Hall's honeysuckle, and sunburst locust.
Sunburst locust cheerfully shouts, "Hello, spring," with its glowing yellow leaves.
As summer heats up, it settles down to a naturally cool green, only to turn gold again in the autumn.
This Watters exclusive casts a dappled shade, perfect for reading books or sharing an outdoor meal, and impervious to deer.
You'll find the coolest trees here at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
The Alta Vista Garden Club is going to have a garden tour. Every other year, they have a garden tour. They pick 5 gardens. They curate different personalities. They aren't all the same. They're different. You can see a gardener's personality come out in their gardens. So you're welcome for a donation to the garden club. You can go see those gardens. They give you a map, and you go for the morning, the afternoon, grab lunch, finish up the tours. And I think it's from 8 to 3 on June 21st. So it's coming up. We've got tickets available. I think they're like $20 or $25. They're not much. It's worth a day worth of entertainment. It is. If you're a gardener, it's a hoot. It's super fun. And they've got a great garden club. Alta Vista, they meet once a month, and they just try to help each other be better gardeners and do good work with, beautify Prescott from a garden perspective throughout the region. They've been around for a long time. So I've spoken to that group before. They are just a fun group of gardeners. It's worthwhile looking at them. Garden clubs, there's a place for them. We benefit together by sharing our garden knowledge. That's why we put a garden club here at Watters Garden Center. We've got the Watters Garden Club. I write a weekly garden column, and we send that to our garden club members. So there's like 12,000 of you. Actually, there might be more. I can't keep up. It's kind of crazy. It's a lot of you. But if you're new to the area, or let's say you're newly retired, and you finally have time and resources to garden, you've been thinking about it, but it's been a while, you really benefit from getting in the sequence, in the environment, working with the environment instead of against it. So you know when the monsoon rains come, it's a good time to plant then. You know, in the springtime, you want spring things that can take bright days and cool nights and maybe a snow. What are those plants and how do you design with those? So that's what a garden club does for you. So I shoot videos. If there's a new product, if you've seen something in bloom, I know you're asking, I wonder what that thing is. And so I try to shoot it and they go, hey, that's a certain kind of lilac or a Rosa Sharon or a hibiscus or a perennial flower. Here's a beautiful rose garden. Or I just shot my own personal wildflower gardens. They're spectacular this year, just spectacular. I had to show them off. So if you're following us on our streams at all, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, whatever your thing is, look at the Watters Garden Center feed, and you're basically going to get some great garden tips. And you actually get to see my personal gardens. So whether it's test gardens at the garden center or my personal backyard gardens, that's the beauty of a garden club. If you don't belong to a club, you should jump on Watters Garden Center. And at the very front page, you'll see sign up for Watters Garden Club. It's there. It's there to help you make less mistakes. You're going to kill less plants. You're going to take the ones that you do have. They're going to bloom better, be richer. You're going to have bigger tomatoes, more of them. You can ask questions. It's really from my desktop to yours. And I try to embed some other resources in there for you. So if you want to go deeper, you can. And so that's the beauty of a good garden club. But look at our Alta Vista. That's also a good garden club. It's much more intimate because they're meeting in someone's living room, basically. You walk their personal gardens once a month. And then every other year, you get to go have a big garden tour as they use it as a fundraiser. In the interim, join Watters Garden Club. I invite you. Take a look at it. We give you first line access to certain plants. You can pre-order it. You get garden colony. Your warranties are extended. You get more how-to gardens, how to prune roses. If you bought a rose this year, you'll have here's how to prune in your inbox in the fall. That's the beauty of a garden club. Throughout the week, Lisa and I camp out here at Watters Garden Center, and we love talking to fans of the show.
Watters Garden companion plants for June are golden locust, moonshine yarrow, Hall's honeysuckle, and gilt-edged silverberry.
Gilded-edged silverberry grows head high with bright gold and blue leaves that screens out the most obnoxious neighbors while standing up to blistering heat and wind.
The super sweet flowers are utterly animal-proof. Even javelina and deer don't like the taste of this local shrub.
You'll find the best evergreen natives at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. For a more fruitful garden, increase success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit wattersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Watters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.